Okay, hello. Today we are going to be talking about the best habits of top 1% streamers. So, after interviewing over 100 top content creators, I've narrowed down 7 of the reasons I would recommend to everyone that is trying to become a content creator or interested in this subject about why people become successful. And I think the most surprising one is actually going to be number 5, which I've never heard anybody talk about. So, real quick, before we get started, our whole community lives over at discord.gg/Devin. We platform quality discussions about business, content creation, lifestyle topics, stuff like that. The server's like the best Discord I've ever seen for good discussion, so hopefully you'll come say hi. And secondly, this whole channel is supported by Patreon. If something I've done adds value to you, please consider going over and supporting us at patreon.com/DevinNash. I tried to create legit value there, so you're not just throwing money at nothing. As of now, there's already hours and hours of unique content up there on business and media stuff from me. So please consider supporting it. Okay, let's get started. I'm excited. I haven't done a talk like this in a while, and I haven't done anything like this ever. So the top 7 reasons we're going to bust out ye old trusty notepad. Oh my God, here we go. It's all we need. We don't need any resources, PowerPoint slides, things like that. Are you kidding me? What a joke. Okay, number 1. What is the number 1 reason? I would say that it's consistency. So one of the things that I see among all top broadcasters, basically, is that they're incredibly, painfully consistent. They usually put in at least 200 hours a month, if not more. And pretty much everyone within the top 1%, with very few exceptions, there are some exceptions, and I will mention those exceptions in a moment, are putting in like 200 plus hours a month, and they're streaming very consistently. Or if they're not consistently and putting in the hours, they are showing up when they say they are. So for example, a good broadcaster, like for a good large broadcaster example of this is Carnage, where he is just there every morning at, I think, my equivalent of 5 a.m., but he's East Coast. So he's like there at 8 a.m. every single morning. And when he's on, he's on. If he takes a day off, he's going to tell you in advance. He treats it very much like a job and like being there on time. I think a lot of people get caught up where they don't think the consistency is important, and because they can get away with it. Like, you don't technically have a boss. Like, no one's going to come at you for getting up at 11 to 12 p.m. or whatever and then starting your stream. But consistency is really good because it builds a familiarity with your user base that people can start expecting your show. And what you'll see start to happen when you're very consistent is your chat will start to light up 20, 30 minutes before the show because people know you're going to be there. This will actually happen really quickly if you decide to start on a schedule. And as hard as it can be to start a schedule, our agency and all the numbers that we've crunched on it rates consistency at basically the number 1 or 2-ish thing that makes content creators successful. There are a lot of other things you need to do, especially in this ecosystem, but staying consistent is how to keep a consistent user base, encourage more subscribers. I just see there's tons of data on this. Consistency is absolutely number 1. And if you are not consistent, and you're kind of like jumping around, you can suffer up to a 40% less viewership if you're kind of jumping around like 8 or 10 hour intervals or such things, or even like 5 or 6 hour intervals where you might stream in the morning and then a couple days later you're streaming like dead at night. This is not good. The other thing that consistency can do is it can put you on a schedule that is more advantageous to just general streaming growth. Like, for example, streaming in the mornings, US is always better. So like the best time to broadcast on Twitch is about 6 a.m. PST, around there, because you're hitting the European prime time. You're going into the North American work prime time, and you're kind of like in a good time for Asia. So you're hitting all of those qualifiers. Anyway, like 6 a.m. to 12 p.m.-ish is good. And after that point, too many broadcasters saturate the market because they all get up because none of them are following the advice that I just gave you and being consistent. They're all just like sleeping in. And so most of the highest number of broadcasters per viewer ratio starts at 12 p.m. PST, and broadcasts underperform since then. You might say, well, why? I see all these huge broadcasters on, and that's the point, right? So consistency is number 1. Number 2 is typically they create without focusing on quality. This is going to sound really weird, for example. And this is, they don't overthink. So this is a mindset one. It's not all these are going to be like practice oriented. This is like a much more subjective one. But a lot of people get paralyzed, especially smaller creators get paralyzed by they create things, but they worry so much about the quality of it. Like, is it 1080p? Am I using the right camera? Am I using the right microphone? You can go on YouTube right now and you can go Google all of these, like, what's the best microphone to use for streaming, you'll see they have hundreds of thousands of views. I never create these kind of videos, right? These like equipment videos, because I don't think it matters. I think you should focus on execution and actually putting something out into the world. This is true for, I always try to relate these videos to people that are watching that are in the marketing space or business space or whatever, because I know there's not all of you are content creators or interested in being them. Good for you. So in that respect, I think focusing on what you can physically put into the world is so important. And what I mean by that is, like, if you spend 6 hours or 1 hour on Reddit figuring out the best microphone to use on broadcasting, in my opinion, you haven't really done work. And as far as the universe is concerned, you haven't intended anything in, right? You haven't created a video. You could even have documented that journey, or you could have live streamed that journey. You could have done something to create something in that journey. But a lot of people feel like they're working. This is true in business. This is true in everywhere. But they're not actually intending something into the universe. They're not writing an SOP. They're not creating a document that actually exists. They're not writing an article. I think there's a huge difference between, like, execution versus planning and thinking. And, like, Alan Watts always used to say that thinking is a good servant but a poor master. I really like that quote. And what that means is, when you get too far into it, you start just thinking about things. And I've had, like, people email me a lot of times, and they're like, yeah, so I'm, like, planning on starting my stream in 3 months. Like, I'm getting ready for it. Like, this happens, like, way more than you would think. And I'm like, 3 months? Like, what's stopping you from doing it tomorrow? Like, just download OBS. It should take you like 10 minutes. And, like, yeah, maybe you don't have the optimal setup, but you're creating something. You're putting it into the world. Way too many people are waiting for, like, perfect to come and just never knocks on the door. They don't understand that it's a long game. You have to play it up to the point where you have that quality. Like, we were looking through my Discord server today, and I'm just been amazed at how the quality of my Discord server has evolved. And we were looking at the first messages that were sent in the Discord server. It's just like emojis and Joe Rogan videos. If you go there now, the discussion is unbelievable. It's like, I think it's the top Discord for content creation that there is. So, and it's getting there for business, frankly. And, like, I'm so impressed by it. But that didn't start on day one. It started as a result of years of cultivating that. So one of the things that top creators do, people like XQC or such, they just create, and Hassan Abi's a good example of this too. There might be 15 to 20 videos that Hassan reacts to in a single broadcast, and most of them just are like, they're kind of like flashes in the pan as far as hype for the chat or whatever. But one of them pops off, becomes a great YouTube video, and leads to going to maybe his channel where it's, like, highly successful. Like, if we go over to I always look at his YouTube channel. I look at the YouTube channels of most, like, top creators. And if you look at his channel, the last, like, 3 videos or so are just, like, all reactions from his stream and such, but they're videos that popped off. He's probably watched 20 videos in this period, but those are the ones that pop off because he's just creating so much that something is going to stick. So focusing on quantity and execution over actually, like, just thinking about what you should intend is a big part of number 2. And that takes me to number 3, which is they post on YouTube. This is a pretty straightforward one, but you can see, like, based on the previous example, people that are broadcasting and live streaming successfully are using the best of that content to complement their live stream by posting it on other platforms that are what we would call more evergreen. That's the biz word for that. The buzz biz word is evergreen. Evergreen means content that exists that can if you watch. So, for example, for live streaming, if you watch this video today, the day I filmed it, or you watch this video 6 months from now, or very likely a couple of years from now, it will be as relevant as it is today. That's evergreen content. So what you're looking to do, and successful broadcasters are always doing in the top 1%, is they are looking at they're thinking in the back of their mind, what are the top moments that I can add, that I can post somewhere else? And so, like, let's look at, like, Pokimane, for example, and look at her YouTube, and you can see that lots of her content is like this, right? So again, this is just like a stream excerpt reacting to Met Gala outfits, but it's very meta, right? came out 5 hours ago as of the time of this, the worst unbanned request. Like, this is something that'll be relevant for a very long time. Do you really know your favorite content creators? They're always thinking about this stuff. And when you actually click through these videos, a lot of these videos are just live streaming clips. But they're intending and they're structuring their content so that it can become that. Does that make sense? He asks the recording. Okay. Like Ludwig, for example. Perfect example of this. I love his You Laugh, You Lose videos, TikTok videos I can't stop laughing at. This is a video that can exist for multiple months and years later. And so he's, again, if you go to this is just him reacting on stream. You can see the Twitch chat right there. But the point is that he's thinking about it in a way where he's knowing that narrative will perform well on YouTube, and he's literally making stream content for YouTube. So posting on YouTube is the big number 4, a big number 3. Okay, and that takes me to I told you guys number 5 was going to be the big one you didn't expect, right? Yeah, I did. Okay, that takes me to number 4, which is they don't sweat viewer count and live performance. So a lot of the stress of broadcasters comes from the amount of live CCVs they have and the live like how their performance is doing minute to minute. And if you watched my previous video, which I encourage everybody does on mental health in broadcasting, some of the problems that you know that a lot of small creators and middle-sized creators and large creators have problems with CCVs and have problems with like the sort of up and down neuroticism of broadcasting. However, in my experience in interviewing tons of people in the very top 0.000%, they deliberately turn off view count and they do not look at their performance if they can avoid it. And many people, such as 39daft, for example, just don't look at their stats at all, ever. And I think you might be surprised at number 4 coming from a stats guy, where I really put a lot of value on stats, although I do over like a 30 to 90 day period, not a single day period. The creators that are sitting in your dashboard trying to look for insights on a daily or weekly basis are sabotaging their own mental performance, and you will eventually burn out. What I would encourage you to do instead is take a longer view of those stats and maybe look at 90 to 120 day results, but then in the moment, do a more subjective evaluation of how good your content is. And if you feel like you are providing things of value, whether that value be entertaining or informative. That I think is the big difference between very successful people and people that are not successful at all, is they won't like tunnel in on these really small issues and get caught up in them, which leads to like hours and days and months of like mental anguish and like getting around like really stupid issues like the stuff that gets posted on our Twitch that is like what would you do about a single viewer being rude to you? And this is like some Twitch streamer posting this. This is dumb. Stop thinking about this. Like, don't sweat these like individual like small things. You could even like change number 4 to they don't sweat the small stuff. And I think that would be good. Now, there are still like big macro issues for larger broadcasters, like the overall mental drain and health of a broadcaster. And that's something we talked about in previous videos. But yeah, not sweating view count and like sweating CCVs is like a really big one. And that brings me to number 5. This is the one I'm kind of most excited about talking about, because I think it's something that I've never seen talked about in a video like this. And that is that they watch their own tape. So this one is super cool. What do I mean by this? In almost all of the interviews that I've done, really successful broadcasters, almost all of them will, whether this is on YouTube or Twitch, actually, almost all of them will go back and watch their own VODs. And I see a huge difference in mindset between successful broadcasters and unsuccessful ones. Many unsuccessful broadcasters tell me, and you might have heard this before, oh, I can't watch myself. I hate watching myself. This is really bad. Because if you and I vibe with you because I was this guy. So like back in the day, I hated watching myself. I could not stand going back into my VODs and watching my own content. I just felt like super cringe, and I just didn't identify with that. I was like, ugh, like ew, like that ick feeling. But I realized, somebody told me, some person better at marketing than me was like, if you can't watch your own content, you immediately have a problem because you don't have a user, like a verified user base of one, and you're not actually like proud of and standing by like what you're creating. And there's an there's an intentional investment in that means that that's not there, and it's costing you. It's costing you. So I realized that I needed to change the things that I was doing so that I could be proud of is a weird word, or just like completely okay with, but I think proud of is more accurate, the type of thing that I'm creating. And what I ended up doing was like I actually changed a lot of the way that I present things, the way that I entertain, the way that I talk, the tonality. I went to voice coaching. I did a bunch of stuff that like created a broadcast that was more like a one that I would want to see. And this one I think is the, if you're here, how long are we into this video? Not too long yet. Okay, 16 minutes. This is pretty good for a Devin Nash video. But yeah, if you're 16 minutes into this, like I think this might be the big point in the video where this matters a lot. This changed me more than anything as a content creator and business owner, was like going back and observing my own actions and going back into my VODs and getting it to the point where I was actually really proud of what I do. And nowadays, I'll just go like pull up my own YouTube videos and listen to it. I'm like, yeah, that's good. Like, yeah, good job, dude. Good job past me. I'll do that a lot now. And I'm really happy with what I create. And this is true with live streaming as well. I got to this point where I could go back into any Twitch VOD and feel pretty comfortable about what I was doing. So if you know someone or you are one of those people that's like, oh, I can't watch my own VODs, I think you're leaving a lot on the table. Plus, many of the most successful broadcasters that I've ever talked to, if not almost all of them, go back and they look at their tape and say, okay, like, some are more analytical than others, and some do it in a more general sense. But my favorite are like the objective people that they pull it out. They say, okay, this particular section, I could have delivered that better. Or I got in a fight with a viewer and it derailed the stream and I got stun locked and this could have been better. Those people I think are improving rapidly, and watching your own tape or VODs is something I encourage everyone to do. There's going to be comments in the YouTube section that are like, well, you know, I'm just like self-conscious. I know, like, I'm telling you, you're leaving something on the table. Like, take it or leave it. It's true though. Okay. Number 6, they optimize all revenue generating funnels. So top broadcasters make more money than smaller broadcasters. Like, thanks for the video, Devin. Amazing advice. You don't say, okay? It's not just because they're bigger, though. It's because they monetize better. I don't think a lot of people realize that as much as I dog on Twitch, there is one thing that Twitch has that no other platform has, and that is within the realm of small to medium-sized creators. If you were to take a snapshot of a small to medium creator and then you create some equivalents on like Instagram, Twitter, or even YouTube or any other platform, whatever that equivalent follower amount is, Twitch is by far the best platform for monetization, full stop. Just is, like, for small to medium creators. Larger creators tend to outpace outpace Twitch creators on YouTube for a ton of reasons that could be a whole separate video, and will be, I think. But for small to medium to even like large-ish creators, Twitch is the best platform for monetization. But most people are not utilizing it in the way that they should be. Are you doing regular and proper calls to action for subscribers? Do you have subscriber benefits that actually matter? Do they link to your Discord and actually give people options to chat in new places or interact with you in different ways? Do you have a Patreon? Do you have a merchandise what you sell off of something very simple like one of those direct to service things where people can just buy a shirt occasionally? It costs you nothing besides a percentage of it. Do you are you taking the time to do paid opportunities where maybe there's like a special thing with you? If you're like an informative person, you do an educational content, do you offer consulting on the side? Or there's a bazillion things. The power that larger broadcasters have is that they're not only making money just off of Twitch, though they have optimized all of those platforms. They're encouraging bits. They have their stream notifications set up. They have their subs are very highly incentivized. They're calling out action for subs. Sometimes, like, you look at people like Trainwrecks, where he's like one of the best people on the platform for calling people to action. People just sub because he's just yelling at them to do so. Gift more subs and things like that. He's a phenomenal salesperson. And you look at, like, that's a person who's optimizing like all the funnels that he has on Twitch, and he's not even that prominent on like. It doesn't choose to be that prominent on like other social media platforms, but in my experience, a lot of the top and most successful people are splitting up revenue, and they're utilizing every system of revenue they have, and so they have 10, 15 income streams. I can't tell you how valuable my consulting business, which I do consulting on the side for people, very select clients, but like I really enjoy doing it. And if I feel like I can provide value to somebody, it adds a lot of value to do these small consulting sessions. And I actually have a thing called Road to 100 where I'm trying to get to 100 consulting sessions this year, I believe, for the end of 2021. So that brings me to number 7, which I've left the best for last. And at this point, we are 21 minutes. So if you are in 21 minutes, this is the secret call out for people in the comment section to leave the 21 minutes. You've watched this far. Thank you. You're incredible. Let me know if you have. I always read through those, thumbs that stuff up. I love it. They see themselves as a total brand. This is big. And I left the best for last because what I mean by that is many people that are on Twitch, sort of, or live streaming on YouTube or wherever, kind of just see themselves as a live streamer. You see yourself as a person who goes on OBS, starts your stream, and you do whatever you do. But the biggest people and the most successful people are entities on the internet. They're thought leaders, right? Like Pokimane is not just her Twitch channel. She's millions of followers on Instagram, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers on TikTok. 4 different YouTube channels, a merch line like Poke Palette, I think is her makeup line, and she has an apparel line. She's also associated with esports orgs and teams. She's also associated with OTV, right? She's also associated, like, there are all these associations and facilitations to a content creator. Amaranth is not just her Twitch stream. She's a very successful creator on Patreon. She has multiple YouTube channels, also has 4 different YouTube channels. She's on tons of different platforms and is successful on all of them, right? And I'm not saying this to get overwhelmed, because your objective as a small creator is not to just blow up and post everything everywhere. I don't think that's the answer. But I do think that you should view yourself as more than just a small like a small niche section of Twitch. At the very bare minimum, that means posting things on YouTube or posting things on a more evergreen platform. And Twitch streaming is fine, but realize that it is a component to a total success strategy. If you look at people that are in the business world or the marketing world, which a lot of people that watch this channel, they are in that place, you'll find that a lot of those people, like when I'm a marketer and I look at Twitch, I look at it as like one section of a much bigger house that I might consider as a total content strategy. And it might be a main pillar of my content strategy if I choose to optimize that way. For a long time it was, but it might not be. It's just based on the pros and cons of that platform. Another way to say they see themselves as a total brand, I guess, is don't get married to the platform. A lot of top content creators have realized that they are more than just their platform, and they've expanded beyond it. And you can, like, a user that you get on Twitch is not, or a follower or a person who's a fan of you is not necessarily just a Twitch fan. Like, they could do other things. Like, maybe they join your Discord. Maybe they're interested in other stuff that you do. You can't be sure unless you call them to action in those ways. So another way to say they see themselves as a total brand is they're not married to a single platform. They're not like romantic about their association with Twitch. And the best content creators are willing to kind of just go to wherever their particular most benefit is. And that's going to be a different answer for everybody that you have to independently evaluate. But for it might be that Twitch is very much like your most optimal platform. Maybe you're making a ton of money and that's your objective on like a 500 to 1,000 viewer stream, which I said before, like Twitch is incredible with that kind of revenue generation at that level. But maybe, but like as a business owner, as a content creator, or as a person, you want to be more holistically. You want to like reach out and hit as many platforms as possible. Okay. So that's my video. Consider checking us out on discord.gg/Devin or patreon.com/Devin Nash. Both would be fantastic. And I will see you guys again for the next video. I hope you enjoyed 7 of the best things I have ever found about being a successful content creator and live streamer. See you again next time. Bye-bye.